questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch alongs to the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yes guys, welcome back to Transfer Weekly. This is episode 4 of Transfer Weekly, and this is the show where I'm going to cover all the transfer rumours and all of the other news that is going to be revolving around Crystal Palace in this January transfer window. Remember, this is probably one of the last episodes because there's only 1 week left in this transfer window and then the deadline day stream. So please expect 2 more transfer weeklies in this transfer window before it ends. Please remember to check out all the shorts and live streams we've been putting out because we're making a big push to reach our goal for the end of the year. Also, remember to check out the TikToks as well because we have started posting on there again, and I hope you guys can get a little bit more transfer news even faster in this transfer window. Anyway, enough waffling. Let's get into it. Ibrahim Osman, he is another up-and-coming Ghanaian winger which Crystal Palace are interested in. We were interested in buying Fatawo from Sporting in the summer. Unfortunately, he went to Leicester on loan instead of coming to us this season. But with Osman, we have another chance at getting a great Ghanaian talent. The only issue that I can see is that lots of other teams are looking to acquire his services. Those teams would include West Ham, typical, and Brighton, who are also interested in signing this player. Osman is a 19-year-old Ghanaian winger that primarily plays on that left wing. However, he can also play on the right wing and up front on his own. He's a right-footed player, so he loves to cut inside and shoot from the wings. But he's also good enough with both feet to cut inside, pass inside, and even cross to set up his teammates with good chances. Currently plays for Danish team Nordsjælland. And according to Capology, he signed a 1.5-year contract with them, which he signed in January 2023. This means that his contract expires in June 2024, which means that he's a free agent in the summer. This is probably what's going to be keeping his price a little bit lower for me in this January transfer window, and that is only if he does not sign a new deal either now or in the summer. Osman is a very, very, very direct winger, and he does like to use his pace, his dribbling, and his passing ability to create goals for himself and his teammates. After watching him score an absolute banger against B93, I've called them that because I have no idea how to pronounce the name, but I'll put it up.
Boldklubben er 1893.
I knew that I had to cover this player, even though we were already linked with him. And a very underrated part of his game is that he always seems to create a chance. He always seems to create a shooting opportunity from the worst opportunities possible. Granted, the shots are not always the best, but he still manages to get a shot off nonetheless. He can do this with both feet, cut inside, maybe go outside and shoot with his left, maybe go inside on his right. He can do both, and this is just a trait that Crystal Palace have been dying for. We just don't shoot enough, and this is a winger that is not afraid to shoot whatsoever. This is shown because he's got 2.6 shots per 90, however, only of that is 0.6 is on target. Unfortunately, that's not the best, but, you know, with a few more years and a little bit more development, he'll get more lethal in front of goal. And, you know, he's 19. He's going to get better. This season, he's got 14 starts in 16 total appearances, where he scored 1 goal and got 4 assists. However, even though those stats don't sound the best, he has missed 5 big chances, so he could have scored 4 more goals, and he's made 6 big chances, so he possibly could have had 6 assists. So 5 goals and 6 assists sound a lot better, and as I said before, he's still developing, and I'm sure that with a few more years that he'll be able to convert more of those chances and will be a much better player for Crystal Palace. I already think this is a promising start for him in his career, and let's just see where he goes from there. Transfermarkt quote him at 1.5 million euros, but I think because of his age and the fact that his contract is going to be out soon, he'll probably be worth about 5 million, maybe £5 million, that is. And to be fair, it'll be a great addition to Crystal Palace. We haven't replaced Wilfried Zaha. Granted, it's a big downgrade from Wilfried Zaha, but at least it's a left winger. That's all I've been asking for Crystal Palace, just to replace our best player of all time with another person that plays in the same position. They don't have to be of the same caliber, even though I would like it to be, but anyone from the same position just to play on that wing, because absolutely anyone is better than Jeffrey Schlupp on that wing. But that's all for Osman. Let's kick it on to Nate, who's talking to you about Moise Kean.
What's going on, people? It's Nate here from Eagle-Eyed Football, giving you the rundown on Moise Kean, the Juventus and Italy striker who, of course, we all know used to play in the Premier League for Everton once upon a time. There's a few links here or there saying that Palace are looking at maybe signing him, but I'm going to be truthful here. I don't think this is one that's really going to come off for Palace, because, being truthful, we don't really play to the strengths of strikers at the moment. You know, Odsonne Edouard and Jean-Philippe Mateta have tried their very best to do with what they can, but, you know, we're no longer a team that can supply a striker with, you know, with good service into the box. I mean, you know, we've got players like Elise, like Eze, like a Hamada, who've got a bit of flair about them. Obviously, Mateus França as well, who we're still yet to see enough of. But there's just not enough quality there for me to believe that Moise Kean could really be a feasible target that could hopefully improve our forward line. But as I said, he's Premier League proven. He's an Italian international. He's played at the very top of the game. Obviously, he's played in the Champions League for Juventus. He's played in a number of title-winning campaigns. Obviously, at Juventus, being a part of Juventus's dominant run between before he left to join Everton and before he came back. But yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. This is one that I think if we had a manager that would play to his strengths, it's doable, provided that Juventus are willing to sell. But to be honest with you, with the way that football's going now, you just don't know. But I think, personally, it's not a bad shout, but I think there's better value in the market for me. Look, obviously, he is a good player. There's no denying that. But I don't necessarily see Palace looking to break the bank to bring him in from Juventus, because it's just not what the club do, really. You know, the club haven't really, quote unquote, broke the bank since just before Patrick Vieira came in, and that was the best part of nearly 2 years ago now. So, well, touching 3 years ago this year. So obviously we know that there's no real indication from the club as to where Palace are going at the minute, so it's interesting to see how that pans out. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Moise Kean. If I had to give this a rating of whether or not it's going to happen, I'd say it's 3-4 out of 10. But some of his strengths and weaknesses to wrap up this video. His strengths probably would be his finishing, his play on the ball, and his ability to look for you know, to find himself in good areas in the final third. Weaknesses, you'd have to say probably his inability to adapt to the English game when he did, because obviously he was in a poor Everton side. I think that's fair to say that when he was at Everton, they weren't particularly playing a brand of football that would have really complemented him as a player. We aren't either, really. So again, that's one thing that I'd say would go against us. But, you know, I think it could be an interesting one if it were to be pulled off. But with the way that Palace have really dragged their heels in the January transfer window, I don't think it's going to happen, to be perfectly truthful. But thanks for watching the video. I'm aware that I'm looking this way when I should be looking here, but, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, look, obviously, I think it would massively improve us if we could pull it off. But, you know what it is with Palace. When things need to be done, they're not done. And when they don't need to be done, they're done. So it's another one of those. It's probably going to be a quiet window for Palace, which doesn't look good, because it's quite clear that we need to refresh the squad, because you know, no one's expecting us to go out and sign megastars or anything like that. But yeah, there's players needed there in positions that we're crying out for. But that's neither here nor there. Sorry if I've rambled on this video. Just I had to throw something up for JC because he's been very patient with me to get this done. So I'm going to be honest with you folks. I don't think the Moise Kean deal is going to happen, but I think it could be a good addition, or it could be an absolute dud. You just don't know in football anymore. I guess it would depend on the price, the type of deal, and what way, you know, his wages play out and stuff like that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Moise Kean. Thanks for watching Eagle-Eyed Football, and we'll see you in the next one. Up the Palace.
Up next, we have got Kalvin Phillips, and I was going to talk to quite a great length about Kalvin Phillips. He would have been a great signing for us, but just as I was writing the script, Fabrizio Romano said that he's basically moving to West Ham, and they're offering him the best package deal, and, you know, it is what it is, deal done, yada, yada, yada. But I think we should at least talk about him because it's a good idea from the club, but what Man City want is just way out of our league. Well, we all know who Kalvin Phillips is. He made his name in the Premier League by playing for Leeds and holding down their midfield all on his own. Because of his great performances, he earned himself a few England call-ups, and then he earned himself a move to Manchester City, the best team in the world at the moment, for a whopping 50 million quid. Unfortunately, this really didn't work out for him, whether that be injuries or the fact that Rodri just became the best midfielder of all time in that midfield role. He just didn't really get a chance, and unfortunately he's looking for a loan away. Obviously the possible suitors were Crystal Palace, West Ham, Newcastle and Barcelona. However, even Newcastle were similar to us, thinking that what Man City are asking is way too much. Let me get into that really quickly for you. As I said, he definitely prefers the West Ham offer because they're the only ones that are willing to pay what Man City want. What Man City want is a 6-month loan deal for £6 million as just a loan fee itself, and they want us to pay 3/4 of his wages. That adds up to £135,000 a week. That money is outrageous. Crystal Palace cannot handle that kind of money, and we should not be anywhere near him. Granted, he's a great player. If he stays fit, which is a big concern because you don't want to get him for that kind of money and then he'd be injured all season. You don't want that. He's a great player. It's just out of our league, man. We have to remember that we're not born with money. Money don't grow on trees. Is what it is, man. Unfortunate, it'll be nice, but it's just too far out there. The amount of money there is probably 6 months. You're probably paying Man City about £8 million just to keep him for 6 months. You could buy a player for £8 million. You could buy a Hamada again for £8 million. You could do a lot more with £8 million than just getting this guy on loan. Anyway, on to the last one. Finally today we have Daniel Munoz. He's a 27-year-old right back from Colombia. He currently plays for Genk and his contract also expires in June 2024. This means Palace can do one or two things. They can either buy him on a cheap in this January's transfer window, or they sign him on a pre-contract and he comes to the club in the summer. But wait, did you hear what I just said? A right back. A right back. Remember I said a right back. Same thing as I said with Osman. I really don't care how good Munoz is or isn't. It's just the fact that he's younger than Warden Klein. He's had European experience, and that's more than good enough for me. Granted, he ain't no Wan-Bissaka. He's not the long-term plan, but he's just a player that Crystal Palace need to get in his transfer window. We've spent £7 million on right-backs in Crystal Palace's whole existence. It just shows that we just need to spend money in that one position. We just never spend there, and we've been dying out for it ever since we sold Wan-Bissaka. We've never replaced him, and I thought it was going to be the Palace thing. We get him back again. It's very Palace. That revolving door just keeps turning. Anyway, Munoz is a very experienced right back. He's played for Genk for every single season that he's been there. So for the last 4 years, he's been their starting right back, getting between 40 and 33 starts every single season that he's been there. And he's a much more attack-minded fullback and excels when making last-ditch tackles when facing his own goal. He's very fast, he's very progressive with the ball, and he progresses the ball in two different ways. He can either pass it up, send a long ball up, or he can dribble the ball. He's very comfortable with the ball at his feet, can do skills, and does love to do a 1-2 with a midfielder and bomb down the outside. He's just completely different to what we currently have. Just looking at this graphic here, which is done by Matchday CPFC on Twitter, in every single area, in tackles, shot creating actions, and key passes, he beats Warden Klein's stats put together. With 1.5 interceptions and 2.9 tackles per 90, it really just shows that even though he's great going forwards, he can still defend, and that is something that Crystal Palace really need. Also, with 5 goals and 1 assist, he's looking like maybe another Van Arnold that could actually defend. A goal-scoring fullback, a chance-creating fullback is just something completely alien to me as a Crystal Palace fan over the last 5 years. A very special part of his game, actually, to me, is his passing. Granted, he's not Joachim Andersen. I don't think anyone can come anywhere near to Joachim Andersen with his long balls. Pause.
What were you thinking?
This is because he averages 2.2 long passes per 90 and 2.6 lifted passes per 90. So 2.2 really long passes along the ground, and 2.6 average in the air. For a fullback to have that kind of weapon that Crystal Palace can use, and it's a great one as well. It takes pressure off of Anderson for have to pick out those long balls all the time, and also if a team is pressing high, we've got 2 outlets now from the back, maybe even 3. You've got Gay, Anderson and Munoz, all with the ability to hit a lofted pass. Even when Decore's back, you've got another one there. Just having a lot more passing depth and a lot more variation of passing from the players that we've got, it's just something that I would love to see at Crystal Palace. Overall, Genk want 10 million euros for anyone to get his service, but he's out of contract, so I'm sure that will be a little bit lower. I'm sure they'll probably accept 7 million euros. That'll probably translate to about £5.5 million. And as I said before, he's not the long-term plan, but for £5 million, maybe even £8 million, if we really want to pay the full 10 million euros, he's a great player. Very experienced, and also it'll be increasing the amount of South Americans in the squad, so it'll make Lerma happy because he's also Colombian, and Mateus França, maybe make him feel a little bit more at home. He can speak his language and he'll feel a little bit more comfortable at the club. But I'd just love to buy him. Like I said with Osman, anyone in that position other than the people that we've already got, I'd love to see anyone apart from Ward and Klein wearing that right back shirt in a Crystal Palace top. And yes guys, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to put all your rumours and all your transfer news that you want me to cover in the comments down below. Also, remember there's only one more episode of Transfer Weekly, and then there's a deadline day stream, so remember to keep the notification bell on so you don't miss those. And guys, remember to check out the shorts and the TikToks, etc. We really want to try and push for this goal at the end of the year. And guys, thank you very much for watching. Up the Palace. Eagles!